Hey, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. It is Monday, May 16th, and it is my guest, Teri Gender Bender's birthday today. So I had to tell you guys right away, after you listen to this episode, hit her on Twitter and say, happy birthday, Teri, because she is a rocker. Love this woman. Incredible episode today. She came by over the weekend. A little break from the At the Drive-In tour. Her band, Les Butcherettes, is opening for At the Drive-In all summer. And she had a little weekend here in LA, stopped in, and had an incredible conversation. Talk about a full-blown artist. This woman rocks, and if you don't know her music, immediately get it on iTunes and thank me later. Say, wow, thanks. And if you do know who she is, obviously that's why you're tuned in. And I hope you enjoy this episode because I did. It was just smoking fun to do. I got to say, over the last few weeks, the guests have been incredible and the response has been amazing. Last week, Carl, everybody loved his episode, and I really appreciate all the cool emails and tweets, man. It feels good. Keep leaving those reviews and subscribe on iTunes. The reviews help. I can't tell you enough how much these reviews on iTunes help. It keeps the show in the top 100. It takes 1 minute. Boom. Love, Let There Be Talk. Bam, and you're out. Anyway, long weekend for me. Had a crazy weekend. Tons of fucking shows. And now I'm off to Reno. So if you live in Reno, I will be there from Tuesday to Sunday, May 17th through May 22nd at the Laugh Factory at the Silver Legacy Casino. Come hang out with me. I'm bringing my boy Brenton Biddlecombe. We're coming to make the town laugh. So get out there, Reno. Let's do it. Again, that's really about it. I want to get right into this episode here. Don't forget, happy birthday, Teri. So cool of you to come by and do the show. Everybody keep rocking. Have a great week. And light fantastic guest, an absolute true artist. Introduce yourself.
I'm Teri Gender Bender of the Butcherettes.
TGB.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking today, if you were a rapper, you'd be like, I'm down with TGB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
You walked in. We immediately started talking Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
Amazing what this man does, right?
Oh my gosh, it's so motivating just to see him always on constantly work. His work ethic is phenomenal.
It's crazy. A true artist.
Yeah.
And I worship people like that. And that's what I really like about you when I immediately saw you, a true artist.
Thank you.
I love female front people of the last 10 years or 20 really. But I mean, there's been some great authentic ones. I love Mosshart, Alison Mosshart.
Yes.
I love Karen O.
Oh,
I think Karen O is just fucking electric. And you remind me a lot of, there's a combos of stuff, but of course, Dale Bozio.
Oh, ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
I saw her live back in the day at the S Festival.
What was that like?
Just the clear plastic.
Yeah, great fashion sense too.
Yeah, great fashion sense.
Made it her own. You could tell that she thought of it, that there was no one behind her pulling the strings.
You don't buy that shit somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't go down to fucking Melrose and pick up a clear bodysuit. You know?
No, of course not. Yeah, she Yeah, ahead of her time, I think.
Yeah, and I really think that it's just amazing that it's also with female comedians where people are like, oh, there's no good female comedians or female rock. It's so lazy and also almost a machismo thing. Mm-hmm. Rock is very macho. Yeah. I get it. But still, some people that have just blown my mind in the last 10 years are women that are way better than the dudes I'm seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I saw you at the was it Palladium? Where were we? At the Fonda.
Yeah, the Fonda. There's so many venues here.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
And it was just electric.
Oh.
You know?
Thank you.
And I was like, wow, this girl gets it on. I mean, it's so, I just love the soul of, let's fucking do this and have fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's about either you're going to swim or you're going to drown. And if you just freeze up, that's it. They're going to eat you up. It's like a marriage. You can't just let the man or the woman beat you with a stick. You have to also stick up for yourself, and then they'll eventually respect you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you're born in Denver, Colorado?
I was born in Denver. My mom and my father moved to the States so I could be born there.
From Mexico?
Yes.
Which part of Mexico?
My mother from Puebla, and my father, he was born in Spain, but then his family moved over to Mexico because there was the Civil War going on, and so his grandfather was blown to pieces because he stepped on a landmine. So my grandmother was left a widow with 9 children. So they went to Mexico.
9.
Yeah, and he was one of the I think the middle child. So a lot of trauma fell on him psychologically.
Yeah.
They went to Mexico, and years later he met my mother. They fell in love, and they thought, hey, there's opportunity in the States. Let's give birth there, and I was born there, and I was there for a little bit, but then my father passed away, so we moved back to Mexico where I have family, because in Denver we had nothing. It was just us, my dad hustling.
You guys just say, let's go to Denver, and you come. Now Trump wouldn't allow that now. Right?
You think so? You think he wouldn't?
Guy. No way, man. He's so racist.
You think so?
What? Trump?
Really? You don't think he's playing a character? He's just playing that role?
Well, man, that's an interesting thing to get into. I hate racism and I hate homophobia.
Too. Oh my gosh, yes. Any ism is a cancer, I think.
Yeah. It's really strange, and it's just people don't understand the amount of fucking will that you want to leave a country. Don't know the language. Land in the middle of Denver. America's huge. Yeah. You're in the middle. And you're just like, oh, it snows here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Like, what do we do with this shit?
What are we going to do?
Where are we going to work? Yeah. We don't know anybody.
Yeah. No one.
So you land in Denver, and how old are you?
They started from fresh page, from chapter 0 to chapter 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
And my dad, he just became hustling. It was kind of like the stage. You either you swim or you drown. He got a job somehow. At first, we didn't have a car, so he'd go to work in a bicycle.
Where are you guys staying? Do you have a friend? You're sleeping in the house, or you just move out here?
He got a job as a cook, so he was able to find a cheap apartment in the ghetto.
Yeah,
and it builds personality, it builds character. I think, but because then you get a perspective of there's other people that have it way worse off than I, and in a way we just saw it as an opportunity though. Like, oh wow, what a privilege! We get to be here in the ghetto, and my dad gets to ride his bicycle. We just
in America, right?
In America,
right?
Even though in Mexico we had probably because the dollar is more in Mexico, we could have lived a better life. But then you'd just be content, and that's it. You want something more. You have that hunger inside of you where you're looking for more opportunities. And
was he seeking something? Was he into arts, or he just seeking a better life?
He wanted to be a philosopher. He was a writer.
Wow.
And he wanted to seek a better education for him and for us.
How many people in the family?
It was me and 2 younger brothers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and he was just a very hard worker. And I think because of the hard work that he was doing, and because of racism at his work, he worked at a prison kitchen.
Wow.
So he could understand me. So
out in Denver?
Yeah, out in Denver. And he'd ride his bike over there at nighttime.
What a radical scene to see, huh?
Yes.
You moved to Denver with the juxtapose of the Rockies, and then you're in a prison.
Yes.
Good thing you're not a part of the prison, but to work in that and some of the animosities. My buddy was a guard, and I would see what he'd bring home. He'd be a fucking nightmare. You know, because of all day you're in the jungle, you know, just battling.
You're a sponge too. You somehow also
absorb
the
like,
energy.
Fuck you know, may come home a little tense.
Yeah, a little frustrated, kind of take it out on the kids a little bit, which at the time you don't see it that way. But now as you get older, you're like, okay, of course. He was juggling with a lot of things. No wonder why he drank, for example.
Yeah Did he drink himself to death?
Yes.
Wow.
He had a heart attack eventually.
Wow, how old?
56.
56.
And I was 13.
And you're living in Denver?
Yeah.
You're going, what school? You're in junior high, that grade?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
7th grade, middle school, or 8th.
56.
Yeah, so young.
He's come home one day, he's gone?
He came home like usual. We had an argument to top it off, a terrible argument. I was like, you're drunk. I hate you. You know, a 13-year-old girl that's listening to Nirvana. She's inspired by rage. I'll take it out on my father. It's all your fault.
Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me.
I hate you. And so he leaves the house. And usually my mom would always get on the door and be like, no, Roberto, no te puedes ir. You cannot leave. Stay here. But that day, for some reason, she let him go. She was like, okay, you get out of here, fine. And that's when we got the call 4 hours later from the hospital. Wow. And I was the one to answer the phone. That's why I'm always like, when my cell phone rings, I'm jumpy because I always automatically assume it's horrible news.
Wow.
Yeah, death has always been a constant in our family. For example, my mother, she grew up in Puebla, but my grandfather, she was 6 years old. He'd take her around the town every time there was a murder or a death and show them the bodies.
Whoa.
So my mother's also by nature a hysterical woman. With all respect, everything makes her jump. She thinks everyone's out to get us. There's an evil attention behind someone. It can't just be
a lot of paranoia.
Niceness. Yes, a lot of paranoia.
Still, is she still alive?
Oh yeah, she's still alive, and she's still paranoid as ever. Even though we're living together again in El Paso.
Wow.
In a nicer neighborhood, but she's you're traumatized. You grew up surrounded by death, especially Mexico with its death culture. You give there's a Dia de los Muertos. You make shrines for the dead and you pray to them.
Yeah.
For them
Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Day of the Dead's one of my favorite. I love this.
It's so romantic and poetic.
I know, right?
You have a relationship with the
so much
ghost.
Cool culture, you know?
Yeah, and the colors too.
So your father passes away.
Yeah.
You guys are in Denver. Your mom's not working, right?
No.
And you guys just pick up and go back to Mexico?
Yeah, he died, and my mom gave everything away.
Wow.
Something that moved us completely was that the people that were in the prison, the people that worked with him, and even the prisoners, they all chipped in from their own pockets to give us something so that we'd be able to go back to Mexico.
That's incredible.
Yeah, people are good sometimes, right?
Yeah.
There's good in all of us.
When you hear that, you think, well, maybe we ought to stay here somehow, you know?
Exactly.
Wow. So you go back.
Yeah.
And now you're 13 years old in a place that you've never been, really. I mean,
we'd go back and forth.
Right.
But I feel you. Yeah, I grew up in Denver, going back and forth to Mexico. But in Denver, I was called racist terms like, "Oh, you spick," you, and then in Guadalajara, I'd be called la gringa. Oh, you're too white.
Americanized.
Yeah, you're Americanized. You're a malinchista. You're ashamed of your own culture. Why would you live there for so long?
Wow.
And it's not like that. First of all, Malinche, she helped Cortez out. If you put yourself in that situation, she was a woman that in her own culture, she was degraded and beat, and you had to wait till the man first ate before you would be able to eat the leftovers.
Wow.
And if Cortez is offering her a way to be her right hand man and to translate and change history, of course you can't blame her. If she didn't join him, she would have been killed.
So
it's kind of the same situation in a spiritual sense, where my mother had no other choice but to go back and forth and to look out for herself. Survival. Yeah. Look out for her children. A widowed mother in times like those should do anything for her children, and my mother's one of them. You know, she gave everything for us. She never even bought herself underwear. She gave everything for her tummies.
Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned Nirvana. You're 13. Yeah. Is this when you first find out about music? Junior high? Somebody turns you on to Nirvana? What happens?
All that has to do. It starts with my father.
Okay.
He was a like you, had his record collection. Eventually,
Yeah.
he ended up losing them over the period of years because he would move back and forth a lot.
course.
But yeah, vinyls, Iggy Pop, Cream, Rolling Stones.
Well, your dad was into Iggy
Yes.
Pop?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In Mexico, he was into a lot of American rock?
Yeah.
Classic
yeah.
rock?
Yeah.
Wow,
He had a
amazing.
band. I just found out that he was a drummer in a band.
Really?
Yeah, he never told me this because he was a very quiet man, very secret. I don't know if secretive, but very private about
Right.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A drummer.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be cool if he is still around.
That would-
Throw
yeah.
some tracks on your record, right?
That would have been amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're listening to his record collection, or he's playing music and you're just learning it?
He was playing the music all the time, and I loved the conflict that it started with my family
Yeah.
because my mom would be like, "Ay, Roberto, bájale de los vecinos, the neighbors are going to call the cops." And sometimes she was right. Sometimes they would call the cops
Yeah.
because he would overdo it with the
Yeah, the
speakers.
volume, yeah.
He loved it so much, and I just love that inner conflict of, no, it's bad, but the father loves it, so it must be good. And
Yeah.
then he played Janis Joplin, and my mom was like, "Oh, I think she was a little jealous too because my father really liked her." And she's like, "Oh no, her voice is just too raspy for my taste." And I was like, "Wow, but I like that. I like
Yeah.
that it's a little ugly. It's ugliness is beauty."
Yeah, right? It really was, man. She just had that thing, you know.
Yeah.
There's a train at the station. You know, it's just like, what? You know, and just the way she just redoes that Christofferson song, you know.
So with beauty and conviction, that's what I love.
And talk about confidence.
Oh, I know.
You know, I don't know if the booze
story.
was her confidence or she
the
was
heartbreak,
yeah.
maybe. The
Yeah.
insecurity transforms into a type of confidence in a musical form.
So she's your first female musician that
Yeah.
you get turned on to.
Definitely.
And are you cruising around the house singing?
Yeah.
You're like, me and Bobby McGee. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
know
Lord.
Do you know at that yeah, I love it, right? At that point, do you go, I'm gonna play music?
Yeah, I knew from the moment I was as young as I can remember.
Wow.
I would be in the shower in the bath, and with my rubber ducky, I'd be like imagining it was a mic and a crowd of people connecting with people, or vice versa, them connecting with me. And I don't know, it was just something that I felt like I was born to do, to vent. And I think for a reason, there's everyone, especially involved, I don't even know if in the art world or whatever, there's a reason why humans go through a lot of obstacles. Like, That's been my story from the get-go. From I was born, there's always obstacles. My dad suffered at work. My mom was frustrated because she had to stay. She gave up acting. She was an actress when she was little.
Wow, in Mexico.
In Mexico, and she made it to El Paso, ironically enough.
Wow.
She won an award for Best Theater Actress, and she gave that all up, sacrifice for a greater purpose, which was to give life to us.
Yeah.
And to support her husband, but they were frustrated, and I don't want to have that frustration. And even though, without a doubt, we're all going to have frustrations one way or another.
Totally.
But we could, thanks to that, we're lucky that we have a way to vent it, whether through comedy, through cooking, through reading, through music, and I think frustrations make the art stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's thanks to my parents' hard working that it inspired me to just fuck it.
So
give it your all.
You just go for it. What's your
Yeah.
first band? You started a band back in Mexico.
It's the Butcherettes.
Wow.
That was my first. I was 17.
No shit.
Yeah.
You're in Mexico. You say, oh, I want to start a band.
Yeah.
And before I get into that, how do you start to visualize what do you want it to be? Because you know, early on, you dress up. You radical moves. Is it a lot of Iggy, or you just like, I want to be theatrical? Freddie Mercury. You know, what is it that turns you on to? I'm not just going to stand there and be a shoegazer.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
Honestly, I wanted to just stand there and focus on the music.
Yeah.
And be a real quote unquote musician and read notes, but I just never had the means to. It was just out of necessity to teach myself to play guitar. But on stage, I just can't control it. I think it's just because I'm a very neurotic person, very high nervous system. I always overthink everything. I'm really hard on myself. And I think that just overpowers on stage. I can't help it. It's just, my life has always been a series of obstacles, especially in the band. From the first lineup, my drummer was my best friend. She quit the band in a terrible way by not even telling me.
Why did she quit the band?
It's just, she didn't understand how do you pronounce it? Hierarchy?
Oh, yeah. hierarchy.
Yeah,
You're
have
the
to
leader.
serve. Yeah, and honestly, we never even spoke of it like that. But I already had all the songs written. I had the concept. Everything in the band it was premeditated. It was pretentious to other people, but to me, it was my life. The name signifies this. The stage props, because before I'd use mannequins and feather dusters, it represents this, and everything had a meaning to why I wear high heels, to the war paint makeup. Everything had something to do with it. And I invited her to the band, but I never told her, hey, this is my band, baby.
Right.
And, I thought it was just unspoken.
Totally.
Yeah, but then throughout that 1 year that she was in the band, she started demanding rights to the songs.
Oh, wow.
And it was also due to because we were hanging out with people at the time that were
talking
in the ear.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the press is writing more about her. And first of all, it's the press in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Like, what? We haven't even gone out of the city yet, girl. And
not only that, but you're the front person. You write the songs. You create the whole thing. It's almost cool. It's like a Bowie thing where you see the vision before you even played a note. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Which I love. That's what I love about people. You're like, how did you come up with that? And they're like, it was just in my mind. Yeah, exactly. It had to come out, you know?
Yeah, you have to think about it before you're going to...
Totally.
It's like speaking. You have to, or being in class. You have to think your answers through or your questions.
Exactly.
And study a little bit before you start ranting.
Yeah, you don't just want to throw it and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
You want to bring it on. And when you bring it on right, like you did, people immediately noticed.
Yeah. You hope. But then you feel frustrated because then people not understand it completely. I'm sure this happens with you. That we're like, what? That's so personal or something, or what a gimmick. Because I used to use blood and pig heads.
Yeah.
And the vegans would attack me. Oh, you're animal cruelty. And I'm like, no, this represents something much deeper. The pig heads, it represents feeling like a pig, because sometimes even amongst women, you're sexist within yourself and you feel competitive. And
totally.
It's not just the man. You can't just lay it on the man. And then the feminists want to, just because of your gender, they want to make you only want to support women in music. It goes against all the values in feminism.
It's crazy, right?
You just feel frustrated.
It's a jealousy thing amongst women that are supposed to be bonding together to be stronger.
And it's because the complete opposite. Even though face to face, or on TV, you're like, oh yeah, I support my sister, blah blah blah. But behind the scenes, they're talking mad smack.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe we just have to accept it. That's how if that's how we are generally as women, then at least let's be honest about it and be like, you know what? Yeah, we eat each other up. Yes, we're like this, but I guess it has a lot to do with our culture too. From what country, depends on how you were brought up. I don't know. It's just
fame too.
Oh yeah, it distorts your image of yourself.
Like, look how quick your drummer wanted parts of stuff that wasn't hers, and it's always the drummer. Isn't it amazing? What is up with drummers? Where somewhere along the way, I say it over and over, I would cut every drummer in on every song I wrote if they stayed in the room while I was writing it.
Yeah.
But they're the first guy to leave. They go, I'm gonna step out for a smoke. Give me a holler when you figure it out. Then I'm in there 2 hours. I come out. Hey, I got this. Come in now. You know what I mean? If they just stayed there and read a comic book in the room, I would have cut them in. You're in the fucking room. You stayed, you know? And then when they get around 30 and they're going, hey, I don't get any checks in the mail. You go,
nerve.
well.
What a nerve.
You just laid some beats down and we're gone the rest of the time.
They put you in the awkward situation where
it
you
really,
have to
and then they go and do press. Oh man, I was getting ripped off, and I didn't fucking make any money, and it's an evil business. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that you just split it 4 ways, and at first it's like that if you're a brotherhood growing up, but you really realize right away. Couple guys are always carrying the other 2 dudes.
Exactly.
And then it's like if we were building a condominium and we're all framers and we're hammering all day, but 2 of the guys just drank beer in the van, why would they get paid? It's the same as a rock band. You know, and then
exactly
people
the
go, "Oh, well, they were your brothers, man. You left them out in the cold." It's like, yeah, even brothers sleep in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And don't show up and stuff.
Of course,
So
using the brotherhood title, they want to take advantage of that.
totally.
And you feel entitled.
They'll be like, he'll finish the tunes, and I'll just come in and grab some glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good enough as I am. I don't
Yeah.
need to work on myself.
Yeah, I don't need to write songs.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I always tripped on how people could be in a band and not desire to sing and write also. Of course, you got the one person that can really write, like Kurt Cobain,
Yeah.
could write like crazy. But, you know, back in the day, everyone sang. Now people don't even try.
Yeah, they cared about the process more, the craft.
Yeah.
And they were open about studying music of the past, like doing covers, for example. The Beatles, before
Yeah.
they actually started writing their own songs,
Totally.
they covered almost everyone. They covered and studied profusely music and rehearsed and played the cavern bar for over and over and over again until
Yep.
they perfected their craft. And I agree with exactly what you're saying. People are just lazier nowadays, and they feel entitled. Like, oh, maybe if I just sweat a little bit, I'm going to get my 15 minutes of fame. But dude, it's just 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Think about the bigger picture. Don't you want to change history, even if it's just a little bit, just a little grain of sand?
Don't you want people to walk out of the venue and go, wow?
Of course.
That's what I'm saying, you
Yeah,
know?
they should.
That's the difference.
They don't think outside
Yeah.
the box.
That's the difference of hard work and slackers.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's so many slackers, but you know what? It's a good thing. Imagine if all of them were geniuses.
Oh, it'd be
Oh
fucked.
no, we're screwed.
You're fucked. You can't have 4 geniuses in a band. That's why there was Ringo.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, we love you, Ringo.
yeah, that's just a joke.
We're joking.
That's an old shot at Ringo. But
No, but
so
seriously, yeah.
you're in Mexico, and you go, okay, I'm going to start a band.
Yeah.
What is your first gig? Do you remember?
Yeah, this band from Guadalajara, called the Lesbian Bitches from Mars.
Wow.
4 guys
Great
dressed in like women, but punk with spike collars. They had naturally long hair.
What year?
That was 2007.
Wow.
And they invited us to play a Ramones tribute.
How did they know about
Festival.
you? Heard about you from town?
Because I was one of those people that I could not stay at home.
Yeah.
Because my mother, like I said before, I love her, but she was very jumpy and that energy was too much for me. So I'd leave the house and go to the toquines, which is the little gigs that happen in the alleys where
Yeah.
punks would play music. And I remember feeling a little frustrated because, I mean, it has nothing to do with genders, but the energy was too macho. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a lot of women that would go to these shows, but all the bands were men. But I still go and mingle and tell people my dreams of wanting to play music with meaning, and they laugh at me. But sometimes there are some people that would listen, and be like, oh, well, hey, why don't you do the show? And one of them was Lesbian Bitches from Mars.
Wow.
That asked us to do the show, and that was in a week. And I remember telling my friend at the time, I was like, hey, let's just rehearse whatever. I have some songs here on my cassette. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, but it's only 1 week. What are we gonna do? And I was like, come on, it's only music at the end of the day.
Yeah. And nobody knows what you're supposed to sound like. It's your first
Exactly.
gig, so you could play horrible the whole time. And they go, that was amazing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So it ended up working out, and because of that one show, the 10 people that were there the word started to spread slowly but surely, and then more people, friends that own bars, were like, "Oh, play our bar. We
Right.
can't pay you anything. You can have probably a 6-pack of beer. Oh, I don't drink beer, but you know what? I'll share the beer with my friends that do go and support."
Totally.
And so it just kind of like the domino effect. You hit one.
Yeah,
domino.
word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth.
It's funny because when you walked in and I was posting a photo up on Instagram of you and I, you said, "What do you think about all that?" And
oh yeah.
it's a strange world because what you're saying was instantly you had a great word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because it's in Mexico. It's different. We're only talking 2007, but word of mouth in America doesn't seem to spread like it used to back, with Metallica and grassroots of calling someone going, dude, I saw this band last night. You gotta fucking see them. I think now it's so. Dude, I saw this band last night. And the guy goes, yeah, fires it on a computer, goes, oh, yeah, there they are. Done. There's no seek out, go to the gig, experience it, walk out and tell another friend. It's just click and burn.
Yeah.
my point is, if word of mouth worked like it did for you, thank God.
Yeah.
If it worked right now, word of mouth is in a way Twitter.
I see. Yeah,
It is with
Flesh.
retweets and everything.
Yeah.
That is a word of mouth and way to spread. But I think that there's just so much in a feed that if you went, Le Butcherettes, man, the best, and it just burns by in the feed if the 10 people didn't see it, so it's different. And unfortunately, you and I are in a world where we need to do it. Guys like Rollins, Iggy Pop, they don't need to do it because it's just been fucking planted and are authentic and organic for so long that it's just still around.
Yes. I feel sometimes that it eats at my soul a little bit.
Yeah.
Because back then I had a manager that was constantly telling me to post not personal pics, but always telling me to constantly make an appearance on the internet. And I really believe in mystique a little bit.
I love mystique.
Right. It's a little intriguing, kind of like a woman. You don't want her to be naked right away. You want to use your imagination and be like, I wonder what her breasts look like.
That's why I love New York women. They dress way different than LA women.
Okay.
LA women, it's all out here,
Yeah.
I love women on the East Coast that dress up and they're old. I think it's more of an old world.
Exactly.
It's an old school world, I bet if you looked at a bunch of East Coast girls' Twitters, it's not just like, hey.
Exactly, yeah. It's just culturally, it's a different culture. And there's I relate to other cultures more than I do with other ones. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
And I feel that today's society, especially the millennials, they want to make you feel bad for having preferences.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I feel that we're becoming the new fascist regime. You know what I feel like? You can't speak your mind openly and say, oh, you know what? I prefer black men over Chinese. Oh, no, but you're racist.
Yeah.
What? When I was little, I used to paint my face black. Oh, but you're doing blackface. No, I was a young girl that I liked to just be, play around with different characters and method acting or whatever. It's just people that are so-called liberals, they're just as conservative as the naysayers, and it's just so frustrating that we're supposed to be the new generation, the open-mindedness, but you're so open-minded that you're just restricting everyone else.
You're so open-minded that you're closed off.
Exactly.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it's a little awkward.
So you play the first gig, and it rocks, and word spreads. You start doing gigs, beer money, shit like that, and at what point do you say, wow, this is starting to rock?
Never.
I'm
so pessimistic. I mean, of course, thank God I had people in my corner that were like, okay, you're doing good. And that, but not just yes men, people that are like, okay, you know what? Like Cesar, the guy that just dropped me off, he was the second drummer of the band. And because when the first drummer quit, another obstacle emerged, and we were like, who is going to be in the band? We have a show tomorrow. But you know what? That didn't stop me. I still did the show. My mom, she dressed up as a butcherette.
Yeah.
She was sweeping the floor while doing the concert, and no one even noticed that the drummer had left. It was
wow.
But meanwhile, he became the drummer, and I made a new concept for him. He was going to be masked, and his name is Normandy, and you're going to be the quiet one. You're never going to speak. I'll repress you if I have to on stage. And it worked. We went along with the flow, but I never had the time to think, oh my God, I'm doing this right. No, I just wanted to stay afloat and not drown, not stop. Because if I stopped, that would have meant to me having to stay in my room again, going crazy with really bad thoughts. Oh, you don't like that. You don't want to. Yeah, you know how it goes.
It gets pretty dark, right?
Really dark.
When you're doing art and then you're not able to do art, it can transform into some dark
Violent, dark shit.
Yeah. Can you get violent?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I'm not ashamed, and I'm not proud.
Yeah, you think it's from your father's side, or?
I think definitely, yeah. Because my dad, he would be quiet for a while, but if you kept poking the same spot, he'd explode and
Sleeping
punch
dogs
a wall.
lie.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, where does that come from?
For me, it's an old saying, but it's a great Michael Schenker song. Let sleeping dogs lie. You go up there and pet it, and it's going to bite you.
Yeah.
It's sleeping.
Leave him be. Let him sleep.
Wow, that's an interesting thing. I love the honesty of saying that you do have some violence in you.
Yeah.
You know? And
I think we all do, don't you think?
I think we do. And then that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
And then the lunatics are the ones that act upon it.
They can't even control it.
Yeah. Serial killers.
Yeah.
All those fucking weirdos, you know?
Seriously. Do you get violent sometimes?
I don't really, it was never really my thing.
No punching walls?
No.
Wow.
No, more of just drive.
Okay.
I would get drive from something.
Oh.
Like this fucking guy says I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
And I would transform it into drive to get me to where I want to go.
Yeah. That's
Of
healthy.
course, you're angry and fucking furious, like,
Yeah.
fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I'll smash him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're like, well, if something goes wrong, I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And like I said,
He'll get what he wants.
Yeah,
Be like,
totally.
oh, even though you destroyed my face, you're going to be in prison for a long time.
Exactly. That's how you got to look at. That's
Yeah.
where it separates the people that can deal and
Yeah.
the serial killers.
Yeah.
You know. That's a lot of times you read about serial killers and they're like, well, I was beat up in school the whole time.
Yeah.
And
or
then-
my mother
Yeah.
did something to
Whatever.
impress me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is their release.
Yeah.
So you get the new drummer, you're out playing, and it's starting to rock, and you do a gig with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does this
Yeah.
come about?
Because of Cesar.
Yeah.
Because he also was, while he was the drummer, he took over also as helping manage.
Wow.
Because the people that were quote unquote managing, they were this lesbian couple that fell in love with the first drummer. I'm telling you, it was like a telenovela.
Whoa. Wait a minute. So your first band, you got you and the drummer.
Yeah.
And you get a management team, and they fall in. It's like a lesbian triangle.
They were a couple, but first it was secret. They didn't tell us.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they were very big fans of the band. And they were like, oh, but we'll manage you. Because we had no one.
Yeah.
Basically, it was just two young women that were just trying to get gigs from whoever was offering gigs. So they're like, oh, we'll help. But it turns out that down the line, they were finally... Plus, it's a very homophobic country. So that's why they were secretive, which I understand. But finally, they came out to us and like, oh, yeah, we're together and blah, blah, blah. But I had my suspicions that it's very weird that you'll side with the drummer and not the actual songwriter.
Right.
Seeing it from now, at the moment, I was just confused that they manipulated her into
This
quitting.
is the money person. You know what I mean? You know, like, hey, let's go with this drummer. She's hot. She didn't have anything, but hey, she's hot.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Yeah, leave her.
And so
leave
they
her.
just they plant her with some shit and grab her as like their lover.
And that's how impressionable. Not as the lover, but there was something underneath in the layer, some
Yeah.
psychological stuff that must have
Wow.
been going on. Because she's straight, the drummer. I mean,
Right,
she's
right.
married and everything. But to be whispering these weird things to her that I'm a bad person. I mean, they'd have meetings without me.
Wow.
With my band. Like, that's so surreal to me.
Yeah.
And instead of giving up and just saying, screw it, I should just quit music. No, that drive. You know what? No, now I have to take control more than ever.
Yep.
And then when she quit, that was a relief for me because I didn't have to do it. She herself got out of the way and went with the lesbian managers. Cool, good for them. And then Cesar helped me out. He was like, "I'll be your drummer." And he actually had a real experience with managing bands because he worked for labels. He knew that language that.
In Mexico.
Yeah, in Mexico.
Wow, that's perfect.
So he reached out to the Yeah Yeah Yeahs because he worked with Yeah Yeahs management before to help other artists in Mexico. And so the Yeah Yeahs did Cesar the favor. They're like, okay, we like Butcherettes. Yeah, sure. You guys could open. It was just a 2-piece at the time. This is still just me and him, drums. And they were so sweet. They were so supportive. Karen would always give a shout out at the end of their concert, Butcherettes, and it's big stadiums. And,
big stadiums,
yeah.
man. You're in a big fucking stadium. You're going from fucking alley gigs for 6-packs. I mean, this doesn't happen to just anyone. No. You got to look at your fucking life. Yeah. Born in Denver. Yeah. Dad dies. Yeah. Moved to Mexico. Yeah. Start playing music in an alley. Fucking next thing you know, you're playing in stadiums in your country.
with the bands I love. I grew up loving Yeah Yeah Yeahs. When my dad died, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs were there for me musically. Melvins were there for me musically speaking. It's just so crazy that.
I mean, that's insane.
It came together somehow,
right?
Yeah, just you can't drown, because if you drown, then you're basically letting the enemies win.
Yeah,
you know, and I believe in God, not in the religious Catholic type God, but I believe in that there's something greater than us that's going to help us out if we cease to give up, if we refuse to give up, and I think that something, maybe it was my father, who knows, was helping, guiding me,
pushing you, man.
Yeah.
Right? Spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual, definitely.
Your father's up there like, I'm the new drummer.
Yeah. Definitely. He's there in spirit, drumming away.
What was it like for you to open for people that you completely respect and listen to and are influenced by? How incredible is that? I mean, you're just all of a sudden in a stadium with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and you're thinking, this girl's lyrics got me through my father's death. How crazy is that?
It's insane. But that's the thing. In the moment, I wasn't truly able to enjoy it because of all the demons that, I was traumatized. My friend left. My friends were behind my back conspiring something against me. Yeah. But now, damn, they were my angels. From the Yeah Yeah Yeahs to the Dead Weather, Cesar, the people in Monotone that were there helping Cesar out, give whatever. They were the angels, and now you're able to fully appreciate once you're out of the shitstorm, as they say. Because damn, there's a lot of people that really try to take advantage of me.
But
and
I think
maybe I was also trying to take advantage of them.
Yeah,
see, I'm also probably evil.
I think those hurdles are made for a reason. They're there to add scars, to add to the art. And if you don't have scars, you don't have art. Yeah. If it comes too easy, it's not good. Yeah.
Exactly.
So things have to happen. Like I started comedy at 44, but I played music all my life to get there. I could never think about just not playing the music the whole time and then one day starting comedy at 44. I just wouldn't have the fucking the battle wounds and the stories and the experience. Yeah. So that shit helps you in the long run. Gets you ready. You go out. You're on stage. You're like, that's right. Fucking look, I'm opening for the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Yes. You quit too soon.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It builds confidence.
Man. And the Dead Weather.
We're
talking about two of the great, we're talking about Allison Mosshart, we're talking about Jack White, and we're talking about Karen O. Those are three of the monsters of the 2000s, and then of course Strokes back then.
Strokes, and Interpol.
Interpol.
Did you like Interpol?
Oh,
right.
Once Carlos is gone, it's over for me. But that second, and I'm not downing him. Yeah, but Carlos was one of the few
great bass player. Oh my God!
Also, one of the few bass player stars in our lifetime.
Oh yeah,
where you look at the guy and you go, "That's a fucking star," and the sound of the music, that narc, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. God. And
doom, 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 doom,
I was so into him, man. I saw him so many times, and I was really into them for a while. And I read a story where I guess Carlos and those guys, their first rehearsal, they never heard Paul sing.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're like starting this band. He's like, I got these songs. And they're like, cool, who's singing? He's like, well, I'm going to sing. And they're like, oh, well, when? He's like, in a couple rehearsals, I'll sing. And then they said he opened his mouth and they were like, wow, what the fuck is this dark character, Yeah. Been a long time again. It's just so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's very milky.
Oh, and no one was doing that at the time. It's a Jim Morrison, but not Morrison.
Ian Curtis.
It's not like Ian Curtis, total Joy Division. But
still had his own shred of soul, his own fingerprint.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really fucking unique. Yeah. And then their look. That's what I love about you, and I love about a lot of the New York rock at the time, was they cared about their look, because so long it was just, oh, look what I got at the Goodwill. I got an army jacket and some boots, and I'm not knocking that. I rocked it. I loved it. Yeah. But then when a look comes back, when the Strokes start wearing leather jackets, and Jack White has created the White Stripes, where you wear white and I wear red, and bands are, and Karen O just fucking wow. Each tour she's a different fucking person. And even going back, you could see a lot of that early New York stuff there. Blondie and Television and Bjork. You know, Sugar Cubes.
Yeah. Oh, Sugar Cubes.
All that. You could see that flew into the 2000s and became this incredible thing. Yeah. And then you are 13 and you start listening to it.
All of it.
And then you take it another fucking notch, you know?
Oh. Yeah, the question is, what's going to happen to the music of the future? Because now artists are being sued for being influenced.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that ridiculous? So now you can't be inspired by anyone, or else the lawyers will go after you and be like, "Oh no, you liked Miles Davis too much. Your sound sounds too much like him. You have to pay the family."
Are you talking about the Zeppelin thing going on right now?
The Zeppelin thing, the Pharrell and Robin Thicke thing going on. It's just like, what? We can't be influenced.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Limiting the composers in the future. People are going to be too scared to be open about their influences.
You have to question it too. Well, Pharrell and stuff, that's recent, but when you've got a song, Stairway to Heaven, that's been played more than any song in the entire world, and now the lawsuit comes out, it's just old greedy teams that go, hey man, you know, we could make some money here. Yeah. And that comes down to, I don't want to work anymore. Who can we sue? Yeah. How can we get free money? Yeah. How can we do a sex tape and get famous? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it really is that fucking sex tape spill off, that kind of easy, oh, look, when I was growing up, if you had a sex tape, man, you were just fucking Usher. Like, whoa. You know what I mean? That girl had a sex tape? Yeah. Oh, but now it's like, where's my sex tape? And I think it's become a sex tape industry of not making sex tapes, but finding the free, easy money with no work, without being an artist, without living in a van and eating dog shit and fucking fighting and battles, you know?
Battles, and those are the good things also.
Yeah.
The hardships,
those
like
are
you
the
said
best.
before, those scars, you have to wear them with pride. If you don't have any scars, you're just a Barbie.
Yeah.
And empty inside. And it's disgusting. Those people in the industry are the cancer of the industry, I think.
Yeah.
Telling an artist right off the bat, oh, change your hair color because it makes you look fat. Little things like that happens to this day.
Yeah. I had Chantal on from Morningwood. And she is a fantastic. She was big in that scene. Do you know her back in the day? Yeah.
Whoa.
And I had her on last week, and she said over and over, they'd be like, great band, singer's fat. It was like right up, you know. It'd be like, what? I mean, to me, I looked at her and was like, I don't look at her as fat. I look at her as a rad rocker.
Exactly.
You know, we're not selling jeans here. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I understand part of the industry sells sex and everything. Yeah. But when it's indie rock, it's not about that. There's nobody that ever bought indie rock and went, you know what, man, this Karen Ho girl, I bought this record because she's fine. Of course, she's beautiful, but her talent is incredible. And same with Chantal, you know, like those are grinders out there working their asses off. Yeah. And it's just insane. It's insane.
It's depressing.
So to get into the social media, it is also a great era where you can skip the machine.
That's true.
And you're not going to fucking be monstrous, but who wants to be monstrous? But you'll be able to work and control your dream, your destiny, your vision, and all in your own way.
Exactly. As long as you have control, no one's telling you how to use it or anything. And if you have a premeditated way of how to use it under your ideas, I think it's perfect.
Totally.
Because that way you can have direct communication with people that care. And my mother, for example, sometimes I forget to call her, so she can just look at my schedule through the Facebook and be like, okay, she's okay. She's not kidnapped or anything. It's good. So definitely there's a good side to that where
absolutely
we feel like there's a little bit more power in our hands. The sad thing is that sometimes I feel that promoters, they base themselves on the social medias to see numbers.
It's unbelievable.
And that's
They don't want to do the work anymore.
Yeah.
Promoters, record companies, they don't want to do the work. What they do is they go, I heard about this band. And they go, yeah? Bring them up online. Oh, 6,000 followers. Nope. But what about this one with 1 million? I don't care what they sound. Grab them.
Yeah.
1 million people, we'll make $1 off each one. Let's make a quick $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's and then there's these fools that buy followers and have fake followers and everything.
Yeah.
And that's when I love when these record companies fucking get burned by that. They're like, well, he had 7 million followers, but he sold 40 records. Yeah.
Take
Good
that.
for you.
Exactly.
You're fucking not going out and doing the work. Back in the day, the A&R guy would go down to the fucking club. Yeah. He would see a band. Oh. He would see like a diamond in the rough, and he'd go, I'm going to fucking grab this band, and I'm going to create them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to sign them. I'm going to let them fucking work. I'm going to let them do 4 or 5 records until we get the fucking, Jane's Addiction,
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? I mean, and that's how it was. Label guys battling every night in the Roxy, the Troubadour, CBGBs, wherever. They're just in there like, this is, and they fucking loved it. Like, this is a band,
Being there is smelling other people sweat.
Oh, and they're fans of music.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're fans of music, not money.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the band. And it's an ego thing, too. They're like, I'm going to make this band fucking huge. Next thing you know, you got Coming Down the Mountain. You're like, whoa, who signed this band? I mean, when you look at that fucking record, Nothing Shocking, it's straight up Zeppelin, but with like cross-dressed dudes and shit. And you're just like, this is incredible. That's how I feel when I see your music. I'm like, this is awesome that people are getting into it because it's just like, it's not cookie cutter and it's not like, here's the hit song,
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh my.
Hell
You're
yeah.
making me shy.
No. Now, who is it besides Janice, the one record in Yeah, as you say, that you're listening and you go, this is my favorite right here.
Woo! Oh my gosh.
It's hard to do, I know, but like, was there a period where you're just engulfed in something that really gets your creative juices going?
Anything Melvin's, for example, I love. Just Buzz's lyrics. It's pure poetry. The way Dale crushes those drums, very unique. His choices of the rhythm section and
what about the longevity of this band?
Exactly, their work ethic.
Fucking real deal. Now you did a dual a dual record with them, right?
Yeah, that was very awesome.
That's got to be insane. Another insane thing. You love the Melvins. Next thing you know, your music's on the other side of a Melvins, right?
It's insane to me. I just can't believe it. Because I feel like sometimes I'm a bad person, and I'm like, wow, do I really deserve this? This is so crazy. Well, if I'm a bad person and this is happening.
Why do you think you're a bad person? Because you have drive.
Guilt. I have drive. I'm even ambitious. Because I want to keep growing. Maybe it's a fault of mine. I lost contact with a lot of friends.
Right.
So I can see how that's taken a wrong way. It's just I'm the kind of person that I'm overwhelmed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm an extremist. I hide in my room with no lights, and I can be there for days on end. Even use the restroom in cups.
Wow.
Like that I can't. I think.
Well, you're like the aviator, right? Just pissing in cups.
And music is my ventilation.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what happens. And I'll tell you what happens.
Tell me. Do you go through that too with the cups in the room in the darkness?
I don't piss in the cups, but I do enjoy dark rooms and silence. But what I find is, and it's been in me probably since the first time I really got into rock, which was Kiss, AC/DC, Ted Nugent, young 70s.
Yeah.
When you have a drive and a passion that burns inside of you, it's very rare that somebody else is going to have that passion around you. Mm-hmm. And so you start to plow the field, and the dirt goes up on the left and the right side, and the people are trapped up on these things, and you just keep going. But what I find is eventually they the wounds heal because they realize inside they didn't have what it took to go the mile.
Yeah.
And they either cop to it and respect it, like, hey, man, I was kind of half-assing it in the band. And I know you fired me and I hated you, but I wanted to get fired.
Yeah.
Or they say, I didn't really want to get fired. I just didn't have that drive that you had. And cool. And eventually, years down the road, you either come back and it makes the two of you stronger, whoever your friends that you're talking about, or it's part of life.
Yeah.
It's part of life. I don't think people are meant to have shitloads of friends forever. Because then you don't grow as a person. You just have this, it's beautiful thought. And it's a beautiful scenario of like, these are my boys from the sandbox.
Yeah.
We went all the way through our life together. That's some small town cool stuff. But that's usually when there's no art involved.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When there's art involved, it's a drive. And it's not just for people with regular jobs. We come home and we go, I was at the grocery store. I worked there today. You're a plumber and he's a contractor, whatever. Yeah. And we share our things. But with drive and art, it's like, fuck, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go. And anything that's holding you back, ropes get cut.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. It might sound cold-hearted, but it isn't.
It isn't,
and the
man.
opposite, we're hypersensitive.
Yeah.
I could tell just by staring in your eyes, you're a hypersensitive man.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to take those the decisiones. We have to cut that rope.
Exactly.
Or else it'll strangle us.
It's true.
And it'll do no one any good.
And you get darker as yourself if you start to give in to the slackers. Because now you realize, fuck, I don't want to be here. You know? And you did it because of friendship, and then that fucking makes the friendship explode because now you're furious at them.
Yeah.
So either way, you're fucked.
You're fucked either way.
You are. But you're not fucked because you're on a journey. And if I know you did something for Rollins yesterday or whatever, but that's a perfect example of, Black Flag. Yeah. And, you want them to get back together so bad.
That's true. A lot of people want that.
You're just like one run, But, but that was a time in their life. And it's fucking busted loose, and they're all different people, and they're all in different worlds.
Yeah, it's like we're cells. We're celluloids. If we're under a heating sun, we're going to explode and change and move and morph into something different.
Totally.
We can't just stay the same form forever. That'd be even actually kind of boring, right?
Oh, God, yeah. God, yeah. My friend says you need to hang with different cultures to learn all different stuff. Exactly. And it's so true, Yeah. Different cultures, different friends, different cities. Some people never, ever move from the city they were born in.
That's true.
You,
statistically speaking.
Exactly. You were in Denver, then went back to Mexico. The knowledge of already seeing different stuff, you already knew through your eyes, I want to go different places.
Yeah.
And if other people haven't traveled, they don't understand it.
Yeah, it's very easy to judge.
It is.
Super easy.
Super easy.
I think it's hard to stay quiet and analyze it for a second. And yeah, we just remember that, for example, in my hometown, in Guadalajara, when we played for the Dead Weather, people were, the press, the two press places, and I don't read articles, but my mother, she was very into that, and so she was telling me, oh, they're shitting on you. They're saying that you're a copy of Alejandro Jodorowsky's Psycho Magic book, and that you're taking from them, and it's just like, wow, you can't win, and the critics and the haters will get you down, but at the same time, they are giving you drive. You're like, okay, we'll see. I'm not gonna die here, mother effer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking fight. I want to grow. Thank you for giving me those bullets. Yes, they went and penetrated my heart, but I'm like Wolverine. It'll heal.
Yeah.
And the claws will come out, and I'll slice your neck.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I think it's lazy journalism where people just need to compare something to somebody. It was like you had all these two-piece bands at the time. You had the Black Keys, the White Stripes.
Dresden Dolls.
You guys, yeah. And, of course, everybody's just instantly like, oh, it's the White Stripes, Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the songs? I always say, like, well, okay, it's got two people in the band. But what are the songs? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's all about songs and passion and not just like a look. That'd be like, if you said, Kiss, the New York Dolls, Bowie, they're all the same. They put on makeup, they got a little fire, high heels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so lazy.
It's just lazy. It's just lazy,
And it even sounds bitter, too.
And also, shit sells.
Yeah.
People love, like, drama.
Yeah.
If they would just say, like, oh, man, Teri, incredible, great songs, killer stage. People go,
Yeah. Yeah. They want to see the suffering, especially in Mexican culture.
Yeah.
The drama, the telenovelas, that shit sells.
Yeah.
The amarillismo. There's like my grandfather. He'd take my mother to see the dead bodies. That stuff is part of our culture, and we like to keep each other down. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah, those Mexican newspapers when I'm in Mexico, they're just crazy. Like they'll just show like whatever, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, the mutilations.
Yeah. It's like, wow.
Yes.
Radical.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So what record was it?
Ooh, the White Album.
The White Album.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I had no idea you were going to say that.
Yeah. What did you think?
I didn't think at all, but I didn't think it was going to be Beatles.
What is yours?
It's just changes over the years. But I would say, okay, over the last 20 years, it's Zeppelin 3 or Presence.
Oh.
But really the one that really smashed me for a million years was Highway to Hell.
Wow.
Because it was sonically superior to anything they had done.
Powerful.
And then the songs were incredible. And the imagery was great. And the danger was there.
Its own different world.
Oh, yeah.
Invited you to hang out with them in
Totally.
that sense. You could escape.
And it was just really my AC/DC album. Of course, I saw them early on, but this was really my AC/DC album. I think I'm in 7th grade, and it's just kind of like, wow, this is my, because I bought the live record, If You Want Blood, first, which is just kind of a bunch of songs from all the records. Yeah. But this really was the one,
Yeah.
But then later, your palette changes. Like right now, to me, it's Pink Floyd Animals.
Oh,
I can't fucking get it off.
Yeah, so good.
Right?
I love it.
Do you ever think about doing a psychedelic record?
Of course. Here's the thing. I have a lot of demos.
Yeah.
Over 2,000 in my different computers, different hard drives. And so my goal is to record them, re-record them, or put them out someday. And I have a section of psychedelic rock.
Is that right?
Yeah. I got a bunch. I love playing with pedals and different little toys, little critter and guitar.
It's incredible,
machine.
right?
Yeah, so it's so much fun to be able. That's why I hide in my room for so long, because I'm able to, piss in a cup, whatever. But because of that, because I'm saving my time from going from my room to the bathroom, I'm able to make more songs.
Right.
And that's probably why I'm almost friendless. But you know what? It's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not cold-hearted though.
Now, I know you're not cold-hearted.
Okay.
I can totally tell.
I think I'm just telling myself, no, you're not. Remember.
Drugs? Did you ever get into drugs?
Coffee.
Coffee.
There was a period where I do weed because I was very anxious. But I feel, especially now that I found out I'm anemic, I can't do that shit to myself.
Right.
I can't because I'll faint. There was a lot of faintings, especially with the sun and the heat. And being vegetarian is not easy, especially when you're not a good vegetarian. I just eat a bunch of crap. So that took part to me fainting a lot. And so right now it's nothing. Maybe just a little coffee because of my low blood sugar.
Yeah.
Low blood pressure.
Yeah.
What about you? Any drugs? Any heroin?
No.
Any acid?
No. Well, back in the day, lots of psychedelias.
Cool. What was that like?
Coke and... Well, mushrooms are incrable. That's why I was asking if you ever got into that, because
I want to, though.
Psilocybin, getting into playing music under the influence of psilocybin is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Because you hear it in a different way, man.
Yeah.
It's just kind of.
I wish I knew.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe one day you will.
Yeah.
Peyote. That's a heavy duty.
Wow, you tried that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alone or with friends?
No, with friends.
Wow. It's better with friends, do you think?
I think so, and I think it's better in wide open spaces.
Yeah. the desert.
I've taken mushrooms at a big concert. Not too good. You're just kind of like, whoa. You got to get your mind behind it. Like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But you can really go to another
feel like
world.
You're falling?
No, it's just more of like, whoa, like, where am I?
Whoa.
You know?
Shit. That sounds scary, very scary.
Yeah, right?
But imagine health-wise, you have to be set for it.
Yeah. You got to be,
If you're anemic or who knows if you have some type of cancer, I mean, God forbid.
Yeah.
But you don't want to take that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and it just intensifies
all those demons.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, your new record, Iggy Pop sang on it.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Oh my gosh, the kindness of their hearts. It's really, first of all, it's all about reading in between the lines and respecting that invisible, unwritten law of give people their space.
Yep.
Don't be over pushy and be like, please, I want to work with you, man. No, you have to, just be cool. And that's thanks to Mike Watt. We were able to play shows together with Mike Watt and the Missing Men.
Yeah.
And he was always such a sweetheart. He always has so much stories to share. And I felt like he was my school teacher, basically. He was telling me about back then in the days with the Minutemen. And so he was really gracious and told Iggy about us and suggested that we open for Iggy Pop and the Stooges. And Iggy was cool, and he said yes. And so we got to do a run with them on the West Coast.
Wow.
And he was so sweet. He invited us to his backstage area, and we were able to speak in Spanish, have a conversation in Spanish.
He speaks Spanish?
Fluent Spanish speaker.
Whoa.
Yes, it's amazing.
No shit.
He lived in Mexico for a while. He lived in the culture. He breathed it. He was Jaime down there. They didn't call him Iggy. They're like, oye, Jaime, ¿cómo estás? And he'd be like, oh, todo bien, aquí mi cerveza. He'd enjoy the life on the beach with Mexican people. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. So there was a little bit of, we related in that aspect. And I told him in Spanish, oh, it'd be cool if we wrote a song in Spanish someday, or if you were able to sing on a song. And he was like, yeah, of course, just remind me later down the future. And so years passed. I have another band called Bosnian Rainbows, and we did a festival with them. We were able to reconnect. I saw his manager Henry, who's a sweetheart, always in touch with me. He's always keeping me in line, like, hey, we're gonna play here, or just so you know, hello, or Iggy sends his love. He's one of those people that you could tell he's in it for, like in the old days, for the music.
Totally.
And so it was also thanks to Henry that we were able to make the logistics work, because I reminded him that day that, hey, Iggy said yes to the song, let's do it. So he hooked us up to flying to Miami. Of course, we're going to fly to him at his house.
Yeah. Iggy lives in Miami?
Yeah. He lives
Whoa,
in Miami.
really?
Yeah, he loves the beach.
I never even pictured Iggy at the beach. Right?
He surfs
He's
everything.
just walking on people.
And sharks, too.
Yeah, right.
Tackling.
Wow, he's living in Miami, rad. And you guys went down there and tracked the tune?
Yeah, we tracked his voice. He had the lyrics memorized in Spanish. He's a true professional.
God.
And every sense of the word. He knew. I told him it was my first time there, because it was South Beach Studios. And he looked kind of bummed. He's like, it's just, we're here in South Beach. This is not real Miami. Here, I'll take you, give you guys a ride in my convertible. Well, he didn't say it like that, but I'll give you a ride. And so we were in his convertible, and he showed us the barrios, the different neighborhoods of Miami.
Those are amazing, right?
They're
like
beautiful.
The street vendors and the food and everything.
The people,
too.
too.
It's rad, right?
Very sweet.
Everyone on bicycles, and it's
Yeah.
just like at night, it feels like it's festive. Even the lighting's different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the lighting. Oh, the air too. It just smells so alive. Yeah.
It's rad.
So he had the time and he took us to his house. It was very welcoming.
That's so cool.
Yeah, being able to hear his stories of also a man with a great story behind him. Lots of obstacles, people after him, people trying to get him down. No, he's a true warrior, a survivor. And his advice to us was, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let people dissuade you from whatever it is you're thinking, your instinct tells you.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. It's so true.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up? You're about to go on tour?
Yeah, going on tour without the drive-in.
Yep. And when's that starting? 2 days?
That starts,
Yeah.
2 days, and then
playing here at the Palladium in a week.
Hopefully you
a couple
can make
weeks.
it.
Oh, I'm going both nights.
Yes. That's awesome.
It's June. It's like June 3rd, 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then San Francisco at the Warfield 2 nights. I'm popping on the bus.
Hell
and I'm
yes.
taking a submarine ride around California.
Awesome.
We're gonna do a bus interview with everyone.
Oh, that's gonna be
It'll
so
be
good.
great, right?
Oh yes. Do you
And
get
then-
bus sick or anything?
No
Oh,
way.
yeah, good.
Bus
Good.
sick.
Or boat sick?
No, I love getting in the bunk.
Yeah, me too.
I call it the submarine.
Yeah.
And then you're doing that, and then what? A new record, you think?
Yeah, I already have the sketches down for the new one. It's just basically, I think in December when we're not touring, start recording again. For example, the Melvins, they're always on tour, and when they're not on tour, they're always recording.
That's incredible,
And
right?
They make it work. And
That's the work ethic.
Exactly. It's all about the work ethic. And
Also, they love what they do. They're like, we're lucky enough to play music for a living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's a fucking 1 in a million.
Supportive family that stands behind them.
Yeah.
Just all about that, having your support system. You're
Yep.
not alone in this world. Always tell yourself that you're not alone. It might seem bleak, but hey, maybe it's good that it's a little bleak. It's easier for us then.
Yeah. I'm so glad to have you on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
What a great day.
Thank you for having the time for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God.
What
For
are
a bad person.
Oh, you ain't a bad person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean.
And Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram is the .com, the slash. What do you call those? Slash?
Yeah, slash.
Slash.
Forward slash.
The Butcherettes. So without the S. Because some people say it's less Butcherettes, but I took the S out on purpose.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Les Butcherettes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, mutilate that word. It's a butchered band name.
Les Butcherettes.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, TGB.
Yeah, the TGB in the house.
Are you down with some TGB?
Always, motherfucker.
I love you. Thank you so
I love
much.
you too.
And
Thank you,
get
Dean.
out there and see them opening for at the drive-in. Is it all summer?
In end of summer, almost, and then we have our own headlining for a tour in Europe for
Oh,
a
yeah.
month and a half.
Oh, yeah. Well, get out there and see her and support. Get their record on iTunes. Hit them on Twitter, Instagram. And thank you so much. I love
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. See you guys.